friends, we're here with Lizzie Goodwin to talk to us about the wonderful world of teaching comprehensively in a French classroom. And we also have a special guest who could not be convinced. He could not be convinced that this would not be interesting to him. So we have a couple extra experts in here to break journals and in the conversation. This is Eric, and he's going to be here to talk to us about target language as well. So it's real life. It's real life coming at you. Lizzie, tell us more about your teaching experience and where you are at with target language.
So I am currently teaching French at the middle school level. I teach French 1 split between 7th and 8th grade. So I teach French 1A and 1B. And I'm currently, just like most language teachers, on the road to consistently being at 90% target language and every day. So yeah, where I'm at.
Good. Yeah, that's where I'm at too. So that's a good place to be. And how many years have you been teaching? And when did you start getting interested in using more communicative approaches like proficiency and comprehensible input?
So I've been teaching for 8 years total, 5 years at the middle school and 3 years at a high school. And I think that the greatest shift was my second year of teaching. My then department chair and coach, she was absolutely phenomenal. She really lobbied hard then our, I say whole department, the three of us, to the national TPRS conference in 2014.
Wow.
Yeah, and so our principal was, we explained it, we broke down what comprehensible input methodologies meant and how much of a shift we could get, how much, grit we could get, grit growth we could get from kids. And she was like, all right, go.
Go do it.
From 2014 on, it's been really, little by little, right? Because practice makes perfect. Been pulling in more and more strategies, trying new things, following new teachers, and just kind of expanding that toolbox.
So describe to me, what was your first year like when you started switching a lot of those mindsets? Because that's what I'm coming fresh off of, is my first year of, I decided on my own that I wanted to use more communicative-based strategies, and I was in a department of 12 strong, and they were interested in doing it. They didn't really know where to go from there, so they said, you try it and see what happens and tell us how it goes. So I was like, all right, here we go. I'm going to do it. I'm going to see what happens, and kind of did it piece by piece as well. So what was your experience like?
Very honestly, bumpy.
Yeah.
There were a lot of wins. There were a lot of losses. There was a lot of gray area where I wasn't sure how to readjust and get the results that I wanted. And I had also switched schools then that following year. So I went from a department who was focused solely on using comprehensible input methodologies to a department of 40 people, and I was the only one who had heard of it. So
wow.
Yeah, so a big shift in just thought partners, in where to get information, who to run to if I needed to, figure something out. So that was part of the bumps along the way. It gets better. The more mistakes you make, the faster you learn, right? So it's a very awesome ride, but it's a journey that takes the lifetime of teaching.
Eric's celebrating for you. He's pumped. It does. It takes a long time. And it's a big shift too, especially if you're the only one who's doing it. If you're the only one who's heard of it, that's even worse. I know I spend a lot of time explaining things to people, like, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Please don't hate me for not doing that. There was a lot of that happening. Did you ever encounter any type of friction for deciding to not do certain things?
Yeah, and it just comes down to having the respectful conversation of, this is what I value and I believe, and this is my core set of beliefs as a language instructor, and I would never make you switch out of what you feel is your core belief and what you feel comfortable with. And so it's just having that conversation of like, this is my respectful boundary. And I'm gonna do this, and we can take a look at the data later.
Yeah, like we'll look at it at the end, and you'll see exactly what's going on. Or I found I had a lot of conversations of trying to be less along the lines of what are your real goals. Like we can talk all day about like what you think is important, but what do you really want students to be able to do? And I think I have a better way that's going to get there, right, dude? See, he knows. Eric is my favorite example of this because I teach him with a lot of those comprehensible methods I like to say when I'm not teacher tired, so I don't know if I do it all the time, but very much so. So what activity do you think is a real game changer specifically for using target language in your classroom?
Specifically target language in the classroom. As my go-to, I feel like I'm gonna go with like the TPRS stories, because I do, it's middle school, so they love to be the dramatic characters, and oh my gosh, give them like a chef's hat or like a sword, and it's on. So I do a lot of that, and I think that created a really awesome platform for we can interact over 48 minutes strong, and you can understand and respond, and you get it. And I think a couple of those days, like the storytelling days, after a couple of those days, a couple weeks apart, they're like, oh, I get it. And it's, like, yeah. So it does involve, like a lot of the slowing down and repetition and circling things, but just to build that benchmark of target language, we're doing this long in class, I feel like that's a really core switch for me.
Yeah. And how did you start to incorporate and get students to buy into this idea of like, okay, you're going to be a part of the story now?
I'm blessed that middle schoolers just want to like jump out of their seats and participate.
They're ready for it.
There are definitely some kids who are sitting back like, they can have all that fun. I'm gonna listen and sit here. I think there's just something beautiful about 12 and 13-year-olds who aren't afraid or aren't like too cool yet to not participate. And I wasn't doing the TPRS storytelling at the high school level. I had switched out that next year. So I can't say what the trick is for high school, but middle school I've been blessed.
Yeah, they're just into it automatically. Yeah. That's awesome. Because I know that the trick for high school is like, okay, how do we like trick them into doing things? But I guess for middle school, you don't have to. See, this is why you got to tell them, like, don't hate on middle school anymore, okay? Like, we got all the good participation points. That is so cool. So how do you get your middle schoolers to stay in the target language with each other when it's time for them to speak?
I've done a lot of, I think that everything really boils down to relationships. So whether that's like my relationship with them and like, hey, this is my expectation, right? And because I respect you and you respect me, we're going to work for this. And it's respect amongst, our class as I call them my babies, they're my family. So I have, my periods and just we build that community from the first couple weeks, and we talk as a whole class about like the goal is for you to never be the person who says, I took X many years of whatever language and I can't say anything. I want it. If we're going to support each other, then that means that we all have to work together. And I think it just boils down to the respect factor of my education and your education are equal, and we really need to work together to keep it up here instead of dragging everyone down and breaking the language barrier and then having to build back up and work at
it. Exactly. Well, that actually brings us to a really good question then is, with target language, you need to have that student buy-in and that community. So what are ways that you maintain it on days when when you know it's not working? Like on days when you know it's done? Because we all have that.
Yeah, and that's still my struggle. It absolutely, like, that is the one thing, like, I haven't found the perfect solution for, when they are off and I'm off and things are just wonky. I haven't found the perfect path yet. Um, in terms of like resetting, I know on days where something happened at school, there is a fight or, some drama between girlfriends and boyfriends because we're 12 and 13. Yeah. Sometimes it just comes down to like, all right, we're going to come in, you're jotting in your journal, and then we're going to restart and try to take like the mental dump and try as best we can to move along from there. I've also used, there's a 1-minute video on YouTube. It's just like it goes from like a triangle to a big, I don't know, whatever, like a 13-sided shape is, and then back down, and it just does deep breathing for 1 minute. So when they've gotten to a point where it's like, woo, I just, poof, when we're all doing it together.
Chill.
Yeah.
Chill.
So
that's great. So
that's what I use.
Yeah. Well, that answers perfectly like how you handle like tricky situations when it comes to that. Tell me about some of the daily routines or procedures or even just habits that you have with your classroom that really help to make sure that people are staying in the target language when they need to, like you and your students. What are some of the things that you do that maybe other teachers can steal from you in their classroom too?
I think one of the easiest things that anyone can implement like right away is doing passwords at the door. And I think I got this from Bryce Headstrong. Is that from Bryce? So I love it. It's ever since I started doing it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And so not only do you get the password and you get the language factor of like, remember when we step past this threshold, like it's French language. But I also get the like relationship check-in point with every single kid. And I get to look at every single kid as they come in and assess, right? Like, how are we feeling today? Were we just crying? Are we hungry? Do we need to go to the bathroom? And it allows for so many things to be like happen and checked and get people in the mindset right away at the door. And that's just like, anyone can do that tomorrow. That's a no prep thing. Just even if your password for that day is hello.
Yeah. You should do with anything.
That I do every day. What else? I do calendar talk and weather talk. I just feel like it's so easy to build in that you can snap together and like, make a slide for the month. I don't know, 5 minutes, weather slide, a minute, and then you're set for the month, and it's awesome.
Yeah, quick and easy. Passwords are great. I did a conference with Bryce Headstrom where he taught us a lot of some of his favorite strategies, and passwords was his game changer one that a lot of us came out of being like, oh my God, we got to learn everything about it. I mean, it's something that's so simple. That's such a great game changer. That's one of the things on my list. Like, I'm going to do this year. I'm really excited to try it, though. So I'll tell you how it goes. One of the things that I want to do with passwords is I want to use song lyrics because I teach a lot with song lyrics, and I might use like the chorus of a song for that. So I'm excited to do that.
Thank you. Let's save that one.
Yeah, see if we can share from each other. How do you make sure that your language is comprehensible to everybody in the room when you're using a lot of target language? What are some of the strategies that you use?
Very slowly and clearly. A lot of pausing, a lot of pointing. I think Martina Beck says it, teach through the eyes. Really trying hard to just scan the room, teach through the eyes, pause, point, repeat, circle. And then if kids do get lost, I have like, this is their signal for like I didn't get it. It just went up over the head.
Oh, and I like that. Teaching them a signal. That's a really good idea.
So they don't have to break into English. And if I don't see them, like if I'm looking this way in class, I taught kids like, you go like this and point to wherever in the room that person, like I need to go look at them and teach them and repeat. Which is also really awesome, just community builder. It's the reminder every single day that we're all in this together. So if you see someone struggling, it's all of our responsibility to like get everyone on the same page.
That's such a nice visual cue too. What do you use to become a better language teacher? Like, do you have any kind of favorite things that you use? Like, I'm a big podcast person. Do you have like a go-to place that you go when you're like, where am I going to go to find ideas?
Probably the same way how you are podcasts. I'm blogs. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have, oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many like blogs I have bookmarked. It's probably a little embarrassing, but I would say my top like 3 or 4 go-tos is, definitely the Comprehensible Classroom, right? Martina Beck's. She's just like anything you could ever want, need, question about for CI method. Like she's got it. I really love, have you heard of Senora Chase? Anne-Marie Chase?
I've heard of her, yeah. I haven't been on her blog yet though, but I've heard of her.
Awesome ideas. Usable for any language, and she puts up all of the slides that she uses. She has YouTube videos of her in class doing it. So if you're new to anything CI, it's so great because you can watch it step by step unfold. So yeah, Martina Beck's, Anne-Marie Chase. Ashley from Senorita Spanish.
Oh yeah, she's great.
Yeah. So I have all of them bookmarked.
She's one of our panelists. Yeah, she's going to be doing some blog stuff for us. I'm excited to see what she contributes. Yeah.
So I would say those are my 3 go-to, all ladies. I mean, I do have Bryce Headstrom and Mike Pito also, but they're not my top.
Buddy. So yeah, I mean, I think that the world language community, we're really into blogs. We're really into blogs. And for some reason we're also really into Twitter. There's a lot of world language teachers that are on Twitter too. I haven't jumped on the Twitter train yet, but there's a lot of world language conversations happening on Twitter. So other people who are looking for world language stuff, there's a lot. There's like weekly chats that happen on Twitter there's a lot of stuff there. Yeah, it's nice. And so the last thing is, how do you design your curriculum? Depending on how much control you have over your curriculum, how do you design it with target language use in mind?
So let's see, when I first started teaching at my original school, we had to do an annual curriculum map and then unit guides. And then from the unit guide, right, every lesson was dropped out of that. When I went to my new school, it was not that way. Mm-hmm. So just this year, I was like, you know what? It really is best practice, and it helped me the most when I was doing this. And so this year, I started doing it for myself again. And so I made my own curriculum map, and I broke down every unit into like, these are the high frequency chunks that I'm 100%. These are must teach. Like no child can pass go unless they have these. And it's really helped me realize, like, okay, so I need to focus and hard on these structures. The activities that I pull out from them, like the directions have to be simplified, short, sweet, to the point. It just really made me think about the value of using fewer words to get to the activities where you get to use all of the words.
Yep.
And that was just
like that. That's a good. Simple but better. Yeah. So you start with a high frequency unit first thing?
Sort of. So I start with, the first week I do, it's, oh my gosh, not Somos, Nous Sommes. It's Martina Beck's curriculum, but the French version. So I pull out her first unit, which is D, and I do that first just to give the kids, just words. And then from that, I start doing my own kind of thing, just, personal information sharing, classroom building, community building, stuff like that. And I just kind of like have found a way to work them nicely together where they complement each other. And it just works for my length of period and how many times I see the kids a week. So that's what I do.
That's perfect. I think that teachers are going to have so much stuff that I know my head's spinning with like, I'm looking at my curriculum now. Because I start with something similar. I start with a high frequency unit, and then a couple greetings and introduction phrases, and then I talk for a little bit. We do like a week-long unit about proficiency and why we're doing things the way that we're doing things, so that you got buy-in and people understand. Because like with high schoolers, a lot of them are also coming from different backgrounds and language experience. A lot of them have already taken a couple courses, so this is probably a little bit different than what they've been doing. So I've really got lots of ideas for things that I'm going to be doing. Thank you so much for all your advice, for all your target language. And I know that you have even more things that you can offer to teachers too. What are some resources that you have for people to help with their target language use?
I mean, I guess I have stuff up on the blog. My Instagram, I put up a ton of things just about every single day. So hop on in.
That's a resource right there. Follow
around. It's all, whatever is there is there. And if anyone wants anything, they can like just DM me, and I'm more than happy to send stuff their way. Especially when it comes to like speaking activities, embedded reading, stuff like that, like is really helpful, especially when you're just starting, for someone to be able to be like, here,
yes,
here's the platform, use something like this. You know, that was helpful when I first started, and I do believe in the like give back. Mm-hmm. So whatever anyone wants, just ask for it.
Oh, perfect. Where can they find you on Instagram?
Perfecting Pedagogy.
Awesome. And I will include that in some of our links as well. Well, merci mille fois. Thank you so much for coming on to share with us all of your strategies. And I know that teachers are going to have a lot of ideas. I know I do. Thank you so much for your time, Lizzie.
Thank you so much for having me. This is an awesome experience, and I'm really excited that you're taking on the Target Language Challenge, because it's really useful, and we need it.
We need it. We all need it. I need it. Everybody needs it. We need it. Yep. Here we go. Teachers in need. We're going to do it. We're going to get this 90% thing. All right. Salut.